When it comes to weight training programs, there are so many different splits you can choose from. The classic bro split, the popular push-pull leg split, the overlooked upper and lower split, the nuanced total body split, and countless hybrids of above splits that may tickle your fancy. And just like you can choose between free weights, cables, and machines for your exercise selections, there are inherent strengths and weaknesses associated with each individual split. And depending on your training phases, you may want to consider switching from one split to another to tap into the strength and minimize weakness of each individual split in order to cater for your own circumstances. And today, I'm going to provide the most detailed analysis of each split and give you the evolution of my own split choices along my training journey. So if you're still hesitant on which split you should choose for your own training program, take a seat, and this series will provide all the answers that you want to know about training splits. Welcome to Fast Track Gains. I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. This is the first episode of my sixth series, Training Splits. Now, despite there are countless splits you can choose to program your own weight training, in essence, all splits serve the same purpose: how to manage and distribute the training volume in a smart, sensible, and sustainable way. And as you can make great gains with low training volume at the beginner phase, every split can all work if you're a beginner. However, as the training volume has to be ramped up over time to induce muscle growth, and you do have to comply with the three volume modifiers more stringently over time in order to avoid injuries and fatigue. You will find that some splits that work very well at the beginner phase will, pardon the pun, have to phase out once you progress to your intermediate phase and become even obsolete at advanced phase. Alright, without further ado, let's jump to the analysis of our first split, the bro split. This split is probably the most bodybuilding mind-focused split, and maybe that's how it got its name in the first place, because it divides the training volume entirely based on body parts and de-emphasizes the importance of movement patterns, muscle coordination, and the structural requirements of the human body. The bro split views each body part as an independent component that should be trained in an isolated way, as opposed to the more performance-based view that all different muscle groups work together to achieve a particular movement. And that's why you only train each body part once per week. Because it is so bodybuilding mind-focused, it is not a surprise that the bro split is well received within the professional bodybuilding circles. Just go to any IFBB Pro's YouTube channel and you will find the bulk of their training videos are labeled as chest day, back day, shoulder day, arm day, and leg day, which clearly indicates that a lot of them are disciples of the bro split, and results speak for themselves. So yeah, bro split can be a solid choice for advanced, enhanced bodybuilders. However, as most of us are nowhere near as advanced as an IFBB professional bodybuilder and not sourced to the gills like them, you're still natty, right? It is probably more pertinent to talk about another well-received group, the beginners first. Now, there are a few reasons why beginners like the bro split. Number one, the high volume and the pump. As you only train each body part once every week, you must do enough volume on the particular day to meet the general weekly volume recommendation, which means 10 sets for that particular body part. And 10 sets condensed into one training session for one body part is definitely considered as high volume and is guaranteed to give you that desired pumped feeling regardless of how hard you are actually training. That pumped feeling is a big part of the fun of training. And if training is not fun, why do you even train in the first place? Number two, a better mind-muscle connection. This is another benefit of high volume training, but it is worth mentioning it just by itself. The importance of mind-muscle connection varies depending on muscle groups and your training phases. And generally speaking, at the beginner phase, it is way less important than the progressive overload. But it never hurts to have a better mind-muscle connection, and practice makes perfect. By doing high volume on the same day, you may only have some rusty mind-muscle connection in the first few sets. However, as you repeat the same movement over and over and over again, the rusty mind-muscle connection may become more and more familiar to you. In the last few sets, you may have great mind-muscle connection, and that may be very beneficial to some body parts, say like your back. Number 3, emphasis on isolation movements. As bro split is bodybuilding mind focused, there's a lot of attention paid to how to isolate certain muscle groups. For example, cable crossovers to really isolate your pecs, or leg extensions to really isolate your quadriceps, or the most classic example, concentration curls to really concentrate on your biceps. As isolation movements are generally much easier to do than compound movements, the bro split gives beginners a perfect excuse as an easy way out of heavy, hard, and taxing compound movements. Number 4, high potential for specialization. As the bro split views each body part as an independent component that receives no interference from the other body part training, you can run specialized programming to focus on the body part you want to develop the most. And for most beginners, that would be chest and arms, which can easily turn to chest day every day or arm day every day for a lot of beginners. Alright, now I have summed up all the reasons why a lot of beginners love the bro split. It is time for me to point out all the weaknesses. And I have got to be honest here. The bro split is without a doubt the worst split for all the natural trainees for a multitude of reasons. Number 1, too high volume on a particular day. Your pecs may be fine with 15 sets in a week, distributed within 3 training sessions. But to train all 15 sets into one session would be an overkill for most people because your chest can only take so much beating in one session. The first few sets might be hard sets, but the last few sets, as your chest is too fatigued, they're almost guaranteed to be junk volume, and therefore it is very hard to maintain the training quality on a bro split. Number 2, too low frequency for muscle growth stimulation. It is well documented that there will be a period of stimulated muscle protein synthesis after weight training, but after 48 to 72 hours, the rate of protein synthesis will drop back to its baseline. And as you only train each body part once in a week on a bro split, you will miss at least one window of muscle growth stimulation in a week. This may not be such a big problem at the beginner phase, but if you want to get really jacked, you really do not want to miss any stimulation windows if possible. Number 3, too high upfront dedication. As the bro split is a 5-day split, by default, it is asking you to put in 5 days per week into weight training. And right off the bat, I can tell you that this is too much of an ask for most people, even those who consider themselves as fitness fanatics. And that is even without taking 150 minutes of weekly cardio into consideration, which is arguably even more important than weight training. When you add 115 minutes of weekly cardio on top of a bro split, well, as hardcore as I am, I don't even have the confidence to say that this is a training program that I can carry long term. Realistically speaking, 3 to 4 times a week weight training is what most people can afford. Stretching it to 5 days a week will only make it unrealistic for most people's circumstances. Number 4, over-focus on isolation movements. I have to be a bit more specific about this point. Isolation exercises are not the problem themselves. It is the misuse of isolation exercises that are the problem, or as Coach Christian Dabadao calls it, majoring in the minors. Nobody developed a big pair of pecs by doing loads of cable crossovers. Nobody developed a big pair of quads by doing leg extensions. All the great physiques you know of, they all built a solid foundation by doing heavy, basic, compound movements first, and then use isolations to polish their physique or to bring up the lagging body part, instead of the other way around. However, as bro split can be so bodybuilding mind focused, it makes you somewhat think that you can have a great physique by doing isolations as the main tool to build your foundation. Well, I'm sorry, mate, but this just ain't gonna happen. Never has, and never will. Like a concrete slab can only be pulled by a heavy-duty truck instead of a small water bucket. You can only use heavy compound movements to build the foundation of your own physique. And that brings out another problem of the bro split. Number 5, misuse of the whole split. If you faithfully follow the chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, and accord each body part with the same amount of effort, then the bro split is still somewhat tolerable. However, in reality, most people are overzealous on chest, shoulders, and arms day because they're all beach body mirror muscles, and fudge on back day and leg day, or as you more commonly know, skip leg days altogether and replace it with another chest day or arm day, and just call it a bro split with a specialization program. I mean, if you replace your arm day with a leg day, or shoulder day with a back day, I can give you that. But again, this just ain't gonna happen. And when you replace a difficult body part with an easy body part day, sorry, your split is not a bro split anymore. It is a bullshit split. Number 6, overlook of biomechanics, muscle coordination, and interference. Although the bro split views each body part as an independent component that should be trained individually, in reality, different muscle groups do work together. And in order to have training longevity, you need to have sound biomechanics as a solid base, and it's better to let some muscle groups become the primary movers in some compound movements. For example, when you bench press on your chest day, you think you're only just training your chest, but actually, you're also training your front delts and your triceps at the same time. And in order to protect your shoulders, biomechanically speaking, triceps should be the primary mover in bench pressing instead of your pecs. And when you train your shoulders 2 days later, your shoulders may not be ready yet because it is still recovering from the bench pressing volume you did just 2 days ago. As the bro split disregards all these factors mentioned above, not only you are more likely to develop inferior biomechanics, but also your recovery can be misaligned with the training schedule. Because of this, the bro split is the split that is most likely going to result in overuse injuries and muscle imbalances, which brings us to the last and probably the most critical weakness of the bro split. Number 7, serious violation against volume modifiers. One thing I mentioned in the 3 volume modifiers video is your body is imbalanced, and in order to address the imbalance, you need to modify your training volume to restore its balance. And unfortunately, not only the bro split has failed to address the muscle imbalance, but it has exacerbated the imbalance by its very design. When you analyze the structure of the bro split, chest, back, shoulder, arm, legs, chest day is push dominant, back day is pull dominant, shoulder day is push dominant again. And if you evenly distribute your training volume on different days, you will get a 2-to-1 push to pull ratio, which is vastly away from the recommended 3-to-1 pull to push ratio. Such a ratio is by no means any long-term beneficial for natural training's shoulder health. You will be very kyphotic, with rounded shoulders and suffering from rotator cuff pain all the time because your pulling volume is nowhere near enough to counterbalance all the pushing volume. And to make things even worse, even this meager amount of pulling may still be watered down because there's a high chance that you are using your biceps instead of your back on the back day as a result of focusing on your biceps on the arm day. And by the same token, there's a high probability that on leg day, the 2-to-1 hamstring to quadriceps ratio will be violated as well. Leg press, leg extensions, and squats are what get mentioned on the leg day, whereas leg curls, RDLs, and glute ham raise are at best only an afterthought for most bro split followers. Fortunately, most of them simply skip leg days altogether, so this ratio does not apply to them so much, but still is a violation regardless. Now, as you can see, there are just too many weaknesses associated with the bro split that far outweigh the few marginal benefits that it can offer. And to make it even worse, all the issues mentioned above, they will only get worse and worse over time as we progress from beginner to intermediate to advanced, which is why I call the bro split the beginner obsession. Beginners love the bro split for all kinds of wrong reasons and think this split is the split to make you look really jacked like professional bodybuilders. Unfortunately, even at the beginner phase, the bro split is still not the best split for most people. The only reason it works is because all splits can work for beginners. Once you are not a beginner, you will very quickly find that the bro split is definitely not the best way to make you look like the bro you want to be. But why do so many true bros, meaning IFBB professional bodybuilders, are disciples of the bro split? Are they really that different from us normal bros? Good question. And I will continue my part 2 of the bro split analysis in the next episode. Stay tuned. Alright guys, please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.